He called my son a criminal before he even asked his name. He twisted my boy's arm up behind his back and said, "You little black punk," loud enough for the whole gas station to hear. So tell me this, if you rolled up and saw your 16-year-old child pinned to a hood like that, what would you do? My name is Mariah Lewis, and this is not a theory, not a think piece, not some hero speech. This is the story of how one racist traffic stop turned my life, my son's life, and parts of the federal system inside out. I spent more than a decade as a special agent with the FBI working civil rights and public corruption, believing stubbornly that if we just followed the process, if we just told the truth, the system would correct itself. You know all those things they tell you in the academy about integrity and chain of command, and no one being above the law. Yeah, that. Turns out nobody mentioned what happens when the system itself decides you are the problem. I remember that day at the gas station like a scar. Middle of the day, heat rising off the asphalt in those weird, shimmering waves, cheap plastic flags flapping on a crooked pole, stale music bleeding from a dusty speaker near the cashier window. It was just a normal spot off Highway 14. Nothing special. The kind of place people forget 5 minutes after they leave. That was supposed to be my son's safe place for 5 minutes between school and home. Marcus pulled in on his little motorbike, the one he bought used and fixed up himself. Red jacket, backpack. Grease still on his fingertips, because he had been messing with the chain earlier. He is one of those kids who's almost annoyingly polite. "Yes, sir," "No, ma'am," holds doors. Nods at neighbors like the world hasn't given him enough reasons yet not to. He pulls out a crumpled stack of bills, counts each one. Twice punches the numbers on the pump. No music blasting, no crowd, no attitude. Then a patrol car comes in way too hot for a slow day. Tires squeal. Lights flash, siren chirps, for no reason except to let everybody know a show is about to start. Lieutenant Joe Myers. Local. Thick neck, red face, that lazy swagger you only see on people who never heard the word no from their own department. Steps out like he owns the pavement. You probably know the type already. He locks on Marcus before he even closes his door. "I've seen you lurking around here for an hour," he barks, walking straight at my son. Marcus blinks confused. "Sir, I'm just getting gas." Wrong answer, because it was the truth. Joe laughs, but it's not a friendly sound. "Don't play innocent with me. What are you planning stealing a car? You kids think I'm stupid. People look over but pretend they're not looking." One woman near the door hesitates, whispers, "He's just a kid," and that is enough to flip the switch. Joe spins on her. "You want to get arrested too? Stay out of it." Back to Marcus. "Hands where I can see them." Marcus raises his hands, nozzle still in one voice shaking, trying to be respectful. "I have the papers, sir. In the trunk if you want to see." "I don't need your little rehearsed act," Joe says, stepping closer, invading his space. "You think 'sir' makes you less suspicious. And here's the part that still makes my hands shake. He kicks the bike tire, pops open. What he can, yanks Marcus's belongings onto the ground. Wallet, gloves, a small notebook. Tosses them like trash. The crowd freezes. Phones slip out like reflex. No one wants to be next, but nobody wants to miss the story either. Marcus tries again. "Sir, please, my mom bought me this bike. I'm just going home from school." Joe grabs his wrist, twists it up hard, slams him against the side of the bike. "Stop resisting." He's not resisting. He's a kid getting publicly broken down because a man with a badge feels like it. If it were your son, your brother, your nephew, what would you have done? I wasn't there yet. I was 10 minutes away finishing a briefing, still believing my day was routine. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Is this Mariah Lewis?" Yes. Who is this? I'm at Gasway. Off 14, I heard your boy shout your name. The officer's hurting him, he said. His mom's FBI. You need to come now. My heart stopped. That simple. I didn't ask how she had my number. I didn't ask anything. I was in the car engine, on siren screaming radio off, so I didn't have to hear anyone tell me to slow down. When I pulled into that station, I first saw the phones. A semicircle of people with that look. Morbid curiosity. Fear, a little shame. All pointed at one thing. My son pressed over the hood cuffs, digging into his wrists, his cheek red from the heat and the force. And Joe, looming over him, like he'd caught himself a trophy. I got out wearing my jacket, the one with FBI in. Big yellow letters across the back, Madge, hanging from a chain. The weight of 15 years of service on my chest. Joe looks right past that. Ma'am, step back, police business. He snaps, not even really seeing me. I walk closer. Lieutenant Myers, what is your probable cause for detaining that minor? He hears his name, turns. Gives me that slow once-over, that little scoff some men save for women in authority. You interfering, he says. You want to get cuffed too? Pattern interrupt. I smiled, not because it was funny. Because I'd learned a long time ago that if I let my anger speak first, they'd write that down. Not what caused it. I lift the badge. Special Agent Mariah Lewis, FBI. That's my son. The air just stops. You can feel it in videos when you watch them later. That split second where the script changes and everybody realizes it. Phones come up higher. The younger officer. Adam straightens eyes darting between my badge and Joe's grip. Marcus turns his head just enough to see me. Mom, he whispers, voice broken, but there's relief under it. Joe hesitates, sees the red light blinking on his own body cam, and for the first time doubt flickers in his eyes. You used excessive force on a minor with no probable cause. I say calm, measured, every word chosen. You made a racial remark in public on camera. You threatened bystanders for speaking up. You are done here. Remove the cuffs. He doesn't like being told, especially not by me. But that blinking light is his leash now. He fumbles with the cuffs, pops them, gives Marcus one last shove, like he's gifting us mercy. Everyone starts breathing again. I pull Marcus to me, feel him trembling from the inside. Knees raw, wrists swollen. He is humiliated and trying not to show it. I tell him it's over. I believed it for about 5 hours. We went home. I iced his wrists, took his statement. My agent brain took over preserve evidence, document everything, follow procedure. I flagged Joe's body cam footage in the system, attached the civil rights complaint, routed it up through all the proper channels. It was open and shut. Clean violation. Easy discipline case. Maybe criminal. So why, when I logged in later, was the file missing? At first I thought I mistyped the ID. It happens. I searched again. No result. Checked the upload logs. Corrupted file. Funny, it played just fine locally on my drive. Then my access cut. A little box popped up on my screen. Your credentials have been temporarily suspended pending internal review. You know that cold feeling in your gut when you realize the thing you're standing on isn't the floor. It's ice, and it's cracking. My phone rang again. Adam this time. Agent Lewis, I need to tell you something. Off the record. Say it. ASAC Harland. He told Myers not to worry. Said, we'll take care of it upstairs. She overplayed it. People are saying you escalated to embarrass local police. There it was. Not a glitch, a pivot. This is the part where most people expect me to say I was shocked. I wasn't. Disappointed. Yeah. Tired, yes. But not shocked. I'd seen smaller versions of this dance. Bad reports softened. Complaints unsubstantiated. Evidence lost. What I hadn't seen yet was how far they were willing to go. Pattern interrupt. They didn't just ignore my complaint. They rewrote me into the problem. In the hours after the gas station, a system called Phoenix, a black vault program I'd only heard rumors about, quietly intercepted the footage, recoded complaints, relabeled use of force as appropriate restraint, and put a little red flag next to my name instead. Carol from Internal, one of the few people I trusted, found me 2 floors below where we were supposed to be. "They're moving fast," she whispered. "Harlan's using Phoenix." "Phoenix is real?" I asked. She nodded. "It's where they bury things, or twist them, and now you're one of those things." I still had one advantage that mirrored backup from Myers' body cam that synced to my SUV as soon as he came within range. Paranoid habit. Best bad habit I ever had. So I did what agents are trained to do. I tried to push it to an external secure node, one outside Harlan's reach. In the car with Marcus half asleep beside me, I watched the upload climb. Then read text. "Unauthorized remote command. File deleted." Seconds later, a new voice on my secure line. "Agent Lewis, this is technical oversight. You are ordered to cease all activity related to Case Myers. Wait for further instruction." Yeah, that wasn't protocol. That was a hand over my mouth. I looked at my son, breathing shallow in the passenger seat. His hoodie pulled up like that could hide him from what he'd just been through. I slid the physical drive with the footage into an inner pocket of my jacket. "Marcus," I said quietly, "if anything ever happens to me, you take this card and you find a man named Grant at the Federal Center. Do not give it to anyone else, not a local cop, not even someone who says they're FBI. Just him." His eyes went wide. "Mom, what's going on?" "We poked something bigger than Myers," I said. "That's all you need to know tonight." It should have bought us time. Instead, they came faster. We were driving back from the field office when the trap sprung. 2 cruisers slid in front of us at a light, one more boxed us in from the back. Red and blue flooded the windshield. Marcus whispered, "Mom." I stepped out, slow hands raised. Old habit. Harlan was there in a dark suit under flashing lights, face smooth calm. "Agent Lewis," he said, like we were at some charity event. "We need to talk about your conduct." My conduct. Behind him, Myers stood with a bandaged arm, playing the victim, smirking like he already knew how the report would read. They framed it right there on the asphalt, said I had interfered with a lawful arrest, brandished my authority, endangered an officer. Myers put his hand on his holster again. Marcus flinched. Adam showed up too late, and wide-eyed, realizing way too fast what side of the line he was standing on. Things escalated. Voices rose. Myers reached for his taser toward my son, toward me. Adam finally broke, drew his weapon, tried to stop him. A shot went off, then 2 more. No one died in that moment, but blood hit the pavement, and Phoenix recorded a brand new narrative. Agent overreacts, officer harmed. Right there I saw it clear. This wasn't about justice. It was about control. And here comes your twist. The twist isn't that there's a bad cop. The twist is that the system built a private server to erase people like me and kids like Marcus, and they were willing to sacrifice their own to keep it running. Later that night, Carol pulled me into an empty conference room. "They turned Phoenix into a laundromat," she said, voice shaking. "Excessive force harassment, bad shootings. It all goes in and comes out clean. The key to override it is not in DC, it's local. Harlan had it built as a hardware token. It's hidden in Myers' badge. In his badge. He trusts him. He thinks no one would look there. If you were in my shoes, and you found out the one thing that could expose the rot was bolted to the chest of the man who tortured your kid in a parking lot, what would you do? Stick around, because what happened next will blow your mind." We arranged a meet. Neutral territory. An old industrial parking lot on the edge of town. Lights, buzzing wind. Whipping dust. Just me, Adam, and Marcus in our SUV. Myers came alone. Or so it seemed. "You think you scare me?" he taunted as he walked up. "You think your little badge is bigger than my people? I'm not here to scare you," I said. "I'm here for the key." He frowned. "What key?" "The Phoenix key in your badge." "I know." For a second he cracked. Then he laughed. "You don't even understand what you're stepping into. Phoenix protects us. It rewrites the animals as threats and us as heroes. Without it, the whole story falls apart." "Good," I said. Things spiraled in heartbeats. He grabbed, I moved. Adam shouted. He went for a hidden gun. I fired. He dropped. It wasn't clean. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't cinematic. It was survival and training and rage all hitting at once. As his blood spread across cracked pavement, I ripped the modified badge free and saw it. Small metal core engraved with a phoenix. The key. Sirens screamed before I even pocketed it. Harlan's SUV rolled in with tactical units. They saw Myers down, saw me, armed, ignored everything in between. "Arrest her," Harlan ordered. "Agent Lewis shot an officer in cold blood. Secure all evidence." They slammed me against a car. Hood cuffed my wrists so tight my hands went numb. Adam tried to speak up. They shoved him back. The tech team scooped up Myers' badge. What they did not see, what Harlan did not see, was Marcus standing in the shadows, with my hand brushing his as they dragged me past. I palmed off the real Phoenix key in that 1 second, slid it into his hand. They drove off thinking they had sealed the story. They left my son with the only thing that could break it. Now I know what some of you might be thinking. Why involve your kid? Or why not leak it quietly? Fair questions. But ask yourself, when the house is on fire and every door is locked from the outside, do you wait for permission to break a window? Marcus ran, 16. Scared hunted. The alerts went out, twisting him into a juvenile suspect connected to an officer-involved shooting. They were going to turn him into the threat to justify everything. He ducked through alleys, slid under fences, slipped past cruisers. Rain started heavy and cold. He jumped a chain link, tore his jacket. Hit the tracks just as a freight train was grinding out of the yard. Grabbed a ladder with shaking hands, hauled himself into an empty cargo car. He told me later his lungs were on fire. His legs were jelly, but his fist never opened around that key. He wasn't alone in that car. A man's voice came from the dark corner. "You Mariah's kid." Marcus tensed. "Who are you?" "Name's Grant," he said, stepping into the weak strip of light. "Your mom pulled me out of a blown case in Detroit years back when no one else would. I heard what they did to her. I've been waiting to see if you'd make it this far." Yeah, that happened. Grant was old bureau, the kind they try to shuffle out when they ask too many questions. He had watched the gas station clip before Phoenix killed it on the main net. He knew exactly what the Phoenix key in Marcus's hand meant. "There is one place Harlan forgot to shut down," Grant told him. "An old federal broadcast station. Station 09. If we can light it up, you get a 2-minute override on damn near every public screen in the country. After that, they can shut it off. But not before people see." Is that extreme? Sure. Is it legal? Barely. Is it the only language some people in power understand, you tell me? They jumped off that train near the old station. Rain coming sideways now, wind screaming through broken windows. Rust everywhere, looked dead, but some bones still had power. Grant hot-wired the breakers. Consoles flickered. Marcus slid the Phoenix key into a cracked port. The screen woke up with a blue glow like an eye door opening. Access granted. Phoenix unfolded on that panel, all its hidden files, stacked like gravestones. Grant didn't go hunting for all of it. There wasn't time. They pulled the one thing nobody could spin Myers' full body cam from the gas station. The real beginning. No edits, no corruption. No missing audio. They patched it into the old emergency broadcast line. Grant looked at Marcus. You sure? Marcus thought about the hood of the car. His wrists my face in cuffs. Harlan's smile. Play it, he said. And then America watched. In living rooms, break rooms, phones, giant city screens, everything glitched for a heartbeat. Then showed a gas station off Highway 14 on a hot day. A cop grabbing a kid. Racial slurs. Abuse. Fear. And a woman stepping in flashing an FBI badge not to shield herself, to shield her son. You can't unsee that. People froze with forks halfway to their mouths, sat up on buses, leaned over bar counters. You know that feeling when you realize the isolated incident looks a whole lot like something you've heard before. Social feeds lit up like someone dropped a match in dry grass. Clips re-uploaded faster than Phoenix could chase them. Hashtags calling out Myers. Demands for answers about me, about the footage, about who tried to bury it. By the time SWAT crashed into Station 009, it was too late. Grant took a bullet holding the door. Marcus hit the floor key still in the port. Harlan stormed in, screaming at Tex to shut it down, kill the feedlock, Phoenix. Tex's hands shook. Sir, it's already mirrored, he stammered. The override distributed to all backup nodes. We can't unsend it. And then, from outside, over a loudspeaker that for once wasn't under Harlan's control. This is the Office of Professional Responsibility and Special Counsel. We have a federal warrant for Agent Harlan on charges of evidence tampering, obstruction, and unlawful use of classified infrastructure. He spun incredulous. You can't do this. I'm your superior. Not anymore, one of them said, holding the warrant where every camera could see. Turn around. They cuffed him under that dead station's blinking lights, while the world replayed the clip he tried to erase. I got my cuffs removed not long after. They brought me out in front of the bureau building. Cameras signs a crowd that looked angrier, more awake, more divided than I'd ever seen. Some people thought I was a hero. Some thought I was a traitor. Some just wanted a villain. Marcus stood next to me, alive, older in his eyes than any 16-year-old should be. Adam was off to the side with his arm in a sling, looking like a man who finally chose a side and was waiting to see if it would cost him. I wasn't interested in speeches. I was interested in not letting Phoenix have the last word. So I told them simply, a cop hurt my son for no reason. The system tried to bury the proof. Some of us refused to stay quiet. That is all this is. If that scares you, ask yourself why. People cheered. People argued. Commentators got busy. Congress called for investigations. Phoenix got dismantled, at least on paper. Harlan went from untouchable to defendant. Old cases tied to that server started getting reopened. Young officers who had been swallowing doubts finally had language for what they'd seen. Sounds like a win, right? Pattern interrupt. It's not that simple, because a few months later, I saw something. A tiny line deep in a technical log. I probably wasn't supposed to be able to read anymore. Phoenix Archive segment. Status migrated. Different name. Different node. Same instinct. That is your controversy. That is your open wound. So let me leave you with this, and I want you to really think before you type. Do you think it was right for me to hijack a national broadcast pathway, even if it was technically there, for emergencies to force the truth out? Do you think I put my son at risk by trusting him with that key? Or did I show him what it looks like to stand up when people with power abuse it? If it were you in my position, where the normal complaint process had already been corrupted, what would you have done? Play nice and hope. Or kick the door open. Do you think that's fair? I know some of you will say, I broke the rules that two wrongs don't make a right. That chain of command exists for a reason. Others will say we didn't go far enough, that Harlan getting a trial is softer than anything he gave his victims. Here is my answer. I didn't do all this because I hate the system. I did it because I refuse to let people like Harland and Myers define it. Now it's your turn. If you're still here, drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me if you think I crossed a line, or if the line was already in the wrong place. Tell me if you've seen a smaller version of this where you live. A stop that didn't feel right, a complaint that vanished footage that suddenly failed. If you're in law enforcement, I want to hear from you too. How does this look from your side of the badge? Share this with someone who still thinks it can't be that bad, or that only happens on the news. Make them watch. Make them answer the same questions. Hit subscribe if you want more stories that don't hide from the ugly parts that push you to pick a side instead of scrolling past. Like the video if you believe sunlight still matters more than spin. And whatever you do, do not be quiet. Quiet is where they win. Quiet is where my son almost became a statistic instead of a witness. Quiet is the one thing after all of this I will never go back to.